Uh, like I told the girls after the match, like to get it with this group, it's just special. You know, I've been doing it this a long time, and obviously, if you get 600 wins, you've been doing it a long time. And college athletics is just at a point where it changes so much, and this group's just special. And um, you know, the way they were in the huddle, just looking, and you could tell they wanted to win for somebody else. You know, they wanted to win for me tonight, and that's just how this group is. They're so unselfish, and they want to win for each other, and they want to win, be part of something bigger than themselves. And to get it with them, it was just kind of magical. And then to do it in a game like it was tonight, not an easy match, and they could have quit at a lot of points. We were down in almost every set, I think, by a good chunk, and to fight back and still wins at the end. And hats off to UIW. That's what they do. You know, they hang around, and you can't go on big runs against them because their defense is so solid. They don't make any mistakes, and it took kind of a special effort from us to get a win tonight.
Coach, resilience would kind of describe this group because multiple times there could have been times where the team could have just laid over, taking the loss right then and there, but they just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And it seemed like there was going to be like no stop to your girls. Is that kind of like the spirit and mentality and identity that this team has?
Yeah, it's definitely the identity they're taking on, and I think the more times that they can be down and come back, of course, with it, we don't like to play from behind. It's a much more comfortable if we're playing with a 4 or 5 point lead, but they're settling in and believing in each other, and they're really starting to identify. I think it kind of took hold of them last week at Corpus. They're starting to identify when the other team just does something really well for a stretch and they score 3 or 4 or 5 points. This is such a momentum sport, and that happens a lot. You know, a team will make a special dig and then just get a great kill out of the transition. They'll dig a ball straight to target, and then they'll go get a ball out of transition, or we'll get a one-on-one situation and somebody will dive their hands in on the block and get a block. And so I think before we were struggling to identify when the other team is just doing good things, and we just got to stick with what we're capable of doing and what the game plan is, and eventually it will come around. And I think that's what we saw tonight, was when we would get down by 4 or 5, they were starting to be like, hey, they just made some points in that run. Now let's go on a little run ourselves, and those things are going to balance out, and then it's just who can be a little bit better at the end.
And to accomplish 600, especially here in the Rio Grande Valley, starting first in Brownsville, well, way back to the beginning of your career, but the chunk majority came here in the Rio Grande Valley and Brownsville, and then as you transition here to UTRGV, just the sentiment of just getting it here in the valley.
Yeah, obviously I've been here, made this home, and call it home. Want to be here for a long time, and it's just it's such a fun place to play volleyball right now, and I think it's been something we've been building, and to come in and play in front of crowds like this, like we had tonight, it is a lot of fun. And like I said, this has been home for a while, and hopefully be home for a while more.
And the last one on my end, Constantine has been playing some phenomenal volleyball. Some of their niece has been playing some incredible volleyball. Just what makes them so special that they've been connecting all season long, and knowing that they're surrounded by a great surrounding cast, and it's been gelling for these last 10 games.
Yeah, you know, obviously they've come up with big performances all season long, and you know they're veterans, and they believe in themselves. They believe they're the best at what they do in the conference, and they want to go out and prove it. And I think now they're able to settle in and just play. I think there was a little bit of pressure early on in the season of them being returner libero of the year, or being returning setter of the year, and like they've just settled in, and they really don't think those things matter anymore. And it's more like, let's win a championship, and let's win team goals, and then the individual accolades will come. And I think, you know, them getting setter and defensive player of the week last week, I think that was just kind of that aha moment that when they do everything for the group, then the individual stuff will take care of itself.
Coach, you talked about great look today, just all around. What did you see from the team bouncing back after a close second set loss?
Yeah, and just that needed to. We talked about it, and just how do they make one more play, and I think we were 21-19 there in the fourth set, and I said everybody's going to have to make one play, you know, and during that timeout, and just like, hey, individually go make one play, go do one thing special, and then I think you saw it down the stretch. I mean, Marty dives in and grabs the setter, which we hadn't been great on all night long, and gets a block, and then Julie gets a big block touch, and then we get the Tina gets a block back to the corner on an out of system ball. You know, just everybody made one. I think Issa makes the smart enough to make the decision to send that ball over that was on 4 contacts. You know, if she would have played it to somebody else, it all happened so fast, and just for her to be in that moment to send the ball over and not keep it on our side, I think everybody, like, it was just that 4 or 5 different people made one play down the stretch, and that's what it was about.
2 more things. What did you see from your players?
Yeah, I mean, we keep forgetting Dimitri is a freshman, and I think when she feels it a little bit, and then she just settles in, and then just goes to town. And every night we look at the stats, and it seems like somebody has a big night throughout the year, and then we look down at the stat sheet at the end of the night, and you're like, man, she just had another night where she hit like 290 and had another double-double, and just a picture of consistency and passing so well. And then Martina's just a force athletically for everybody in this conference to handle, and she just keeps getting better and working really hard on the things that were her weaknesses, and coming in, getting a lot of extra reps on things that she needed to work on, and I think it's really starting to show now.
And you got a quick turnaround, the pesky HCU team. You know, talk about how to get the group refocused for Tiger.
Yeah, we'll be back in here tomorrow morning and talk HCU. We haven't even talked about it yet. They're a very good blocking team. They're going to touch a lot of balls, and the key will be, like, can we get the middles going early, and see if they can have to pinch in and help out on the middles a little bit. If we can get our middles going one-on-one with them, I think we'll have a good night.